Nice to him because we've had a pilot or two that got judged early.
Thank you very much, Mr. Defending Bad Shows. And first of all,
guys, you don't know.
You know, great art takes time to unfold.
That's true. That is the truth.
Much like my underwear.
That's true. All right. Can commercials solve all your problems? You go find out. We'll be right back. Well, folks, the papers in New York, the Times, about every paper about the white kids attacking the black kid in a biased crime. Here's a quote from Black City Councilman Charles Barron. If this had been some blacks got together and done this to beat down a white person, the mayor would be outraged, the police commissioner, they'd have a lesser value of life when it comes to us. Okay, now let me just finish my thought, and you can talk for the next 20 minutes. This is why the average white working class person calls the media liberal and votes for Bush. If this had been blacks attacking whites, it wouldn't have outraged anyone. It wouldn't have been in the paper, because everybody knows that blacks would racially assault whites probably 1,000 to 1 against the other way around. Nobody wants to say that, but we all know it's true. And it's been that way for 30 years. And all the white liberal people won't admit it, so they sell out the blue-collar white kid street fight so they don't have to call themselves racist and keep their money and privilege intact. Patrice O'Neill?
I saw you reading that, but did you really believe it?
I wrote it.
Do you really believe that?
Yes.
Black people don't do nothing to white people.
What?
Are you out of your mind? We don't touch you. When? We kill each other. We don't do anything to white people.
Oh, shut up.
Will you admit?
Killing me.
Go ahead, Ralphie.
Are you out of your mind?
Be careful.
Make your
You
point. Stop trying to act.
Okay.
Stop just trying to have emotions.
Okay, all right. Four white guys beat up a black kid. Yeah, there's a switch. That happens all the time, player. You try to walk up and down Crenshaw. Walk up in any street over 100. Harlem,
Also boxing during the Olympics. That happens a lot there too.
That's why we beat. Look.
No. I'm going to tell you exactly.
Look,
go ahead.
That's the only time we get a chance to whoop white people is when it's legal in sports.
Don't be silly. It's not 1950.
We never get a
Let me
chance
tell
to
you
touch
something.
white people.
Shut your trap for 1 second. You know what your problem is?
Except in
You're
golf,
so fooled
tennis, and basketball.
by this nonsense, which everybody in the country knows is a lie, including yourself, that you don't look at where economic problems where you really might have a legitimate case about racism and systemic stuff. You look at the lie that 4 white kids beating up a black kid is not happening reverse.
Well, maybe if they wasn't saying we gonna beat your ass, nigga, we wouldn't say it was racial. It was racial because they say nigga in it when they beat
come on.
It was racial. It definitely was racial.
Of course, it's Staten Island Italians,
when I was in
talking.
high school, I'd take the subway back from Manhattan to Queens all the time, and I was always by myself. And I'd get jumped literally 20 or 30 times over the course of the years, and it was always black guys, and white bitch and white mother that came up a lot. But it wasn't just say I was Puerto Rican.
Is admit that he's Puerto Rican. If he stopped trying to pretend to be a white dude, he wouldn't get his ass beat.
Really?
But that goes against what you just said, that black guys never beat up white. Hey.
They beat him up. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Get emotional.
Wait a minute.
You better hope. Hey, Montana, you better hope Jerry Rice shows up right now.
I'm gonna make my case. I'm gonna step back a minute. They beat him up for being a Puerto Rican, acting like a white guy. That's why they beat him up.
They were pretty insightful people.
First of all, I never said they beat me up. I said that I got jumped, but I slapped those bitches around.
All right, let me ask you this. Speaking of race, what of the Kobe Bryant thing? That sounds like it's got a little. Your thing on it has a little racial something to it.
The new word is plethysmograph, and everybody should be horrified about it.
Yeah.
It's a machine. If Kobe gets convicted, it's a machine that they're gonna put on his penis to measure what makes him horny.
It's true. It's true. It's a real machine.
Yes, white people.
It's a real machine.
It's a real machine. They're gonna decide whether to take his kids. And I know, look, an 80-year-old woman turned me on yesterday. How's that gonna be? They shouldn't be able to judge whether I'm a rapist or not.
I agree.
For what turns me on.
What turns me on is so sick. I can't imagine that being you.
And also, if anyone's wrapping a cuff on my penis, that's gonna get me going no matter what.
Exactly. And no matter what they say, if it's dirty, you're gonna get a.
Yeah.
Or you're gonna sit there like there's no win lose. It's a lose situation because if he sits there and they showing him titties and he's not reacting, they're gonna go, oh, Kobe's a monster. He has no feeling.
Right.
So he's gonna lose.
No, that is a dangerous thing. It's like Clockwork Orange. The movie nobody saw except because I'm 71 years old today.
Oh, but that's also if you're But that plasma graft, this cuff thing, it's only if you're convicted. So a good way to avoid
that's
the cuff.
the fear.
But the best way to avoid getting that thing on is not
But
raping
you have to
someone
admit,
in the
that's a
first
weird thing to decide somebody's taste. Because if you're sitting there, like you said, you got somebody putting a cup on your can, you're sitting there and, you know, they're just telling you all kinds of dirty stuff. Anything can set you
If
off.
we got a machine to measure the horniness in Ralphie's titties.
The journey to economic transcendence
I'll put
begins with a single commercial. Watch these. We'll be right back. You know, folks, what are the odds that I'm going to get through this without stuttering? Now that that guy put that thought in my head. Every day, the fighting in the Middle East seems to get worse. The turmoil's been going on forever, but as Americans, we want it resolved quickly. Yet, America itself is a conflict that's raged on for 100 years. Now, you're right. That's a perfect example of me rambling, and that wasn't that I missed a word. It's just a nasty, vicious turf war with no end in sight. So tonight, I will attempt to broker a peace between the two biggest natural enemies in the world today, Coke and Pepsi. Gentlemen, it seems to me that you are both in the business of selling brown carbonated sugar water. Why can't you get along?
Colin, my people have been oppressed by this red and white giant for too long. They have never won a Pepsi challenge. They are not the choice of a new generation. And they are not endorsed by Britney Spears. And still, we must live in their shadow, only hoping they will see fit to give us more shelf space.
But we need that shelf space for security.
But you control 47% of the global soda market. They control 23%. How much security do you need, Sergeant?
We're surrounded by new threats every day. Vitamin water, Powerade, Mountain Dew live wire, and we still have not recovered from the mid-1980s Jolt invasion.
But think what you could do if you put aside your differences and work together. You could unite the world.
We already united the world in 1971. We put young hippies on a Swiss mountaintop to sing, "I'd like to teach the world to sing." Now, some years later, Pepsi tried to copy us by having Michael Jackson sing, and they set his hair on fire.
That was an accident!
Yes, just